Last time I talked about the way words can be used as hooks for grappling on to other associations. I also explained how they could be used for two main purposes, for recall and for creative uses. Now I call these keywords. Throughout the series, we've been suggesting the connective nature of words. You probably recall this one. So the case for our minds being linear and listlike looks pretty convincing. But fortunately, the so-called evidence is wrong. Let's have a look again at the argument about speaking. Now, granted, I am speaking one word at a time, and you are receiving one word at a time. But that's only the physical part. What about the actual process that goes on in the mind? Now, as I'm speaking, I'm not simply drawing words out one at a time from my mind. I'm considering all the possibilities of words that there might be, and then selecting those which I hope at the moment will be most important. And as all that process is going on, I'm also seeing the things in front of me, the camera, also aware of you, of myself trying to speak to you to communicate. So I'm picking from a whole range of words the ones which seem appropriate at the time. In addition to that, I'm keeping things like my breath rhythm going, my heartbeat, and in fact, the whole of my mind is holding in fairly delicate balance all the chemicals inside it. So it isn't a linear or list-like process. Speaking is choosing from a totally delicate, interwoven, interlaced network of ideas. Now, similarly with you, when you are listening to what I am speaking to you, you are criticizing, analyzing, understanding, watching, perhaps even thinking about something else. The same thing applies to print. When we are reading the lines, our mind is busy making associations, building images.
Now that you've gazed and taken your data, you are ready to analyze your findings to draw conclusions. Start by asking a question: how, what, when, who, which, why, or where. Once you have a clear question, make an educated guess about how things might work. You are attempting to answer your question and predicting a possible outcome. Perform an experiment using your sensory perception to collect information. Isolate your variables, adjust only the specific variable you are testing. After experimentation and data collection, the first step would be to create a system of classification. Classification requires that you invent or discover abstract categories, impose them on a concrete whole, and derive something new. Begin by gathering all of your data and label it so it can be found quickly and efficiently. Determine your object or subject. This is the context you are giving your data to build your categories around, and should be informed by your original question. It is an important step that must not be overlooked. Examine your data and review your findings to begin sorting into categories. Be careful not to make too many categories which could blur your classifications. Once you have created categories, make sure they fit into a single principle. A principle can be achieved through a collection of all possible information on differing qualities that have something in common. This principle should directly correlate to your overarching subject. Be sure to include examples such as these. With a system of classification in place, you can begin to assign meaning. However, data strategies differ from one analyst to the next, as each generates different types and volumes of data, and their background can also greatly influence their data and conclusion. Remember that clinical dissection is never an aim in itself. The point of classification is to reveal and communicate something meaningful.
How should I know what I'll be, I who don't know what I am? Be what I think, but I think of being so many things, and there are so many who think of being the same thing that we can't all be it. Genius? At this moment, 100,000 brains are dreaming they're geniuses like me, and it may be that history won't remember even one, all of their imagined conquests amounting to so much dung. No, I don't believe in me. Insane asylums are full of lunatics with certainties. Am I, who have no certainties, more right or less right? No, not even in me. And how many Garretts and non-Garretts of the world are self-convinced geniuses at this moment dreaming? How many lofty and noble and lucid aspirations? Yes, truly lofty and noble and lucid, and perhaps even attainable. Will never see the real light of day, nor find a sympathetic ear. The world is for those born to conquer it, not for those who dream they can conquer it, even if they're right. I've done more in dreams than Napoleon. I've held more humanities against my hypothetical breast than Christ. I've secretly invented philosophies such as Kant never wrote. But I am, and perhaps will always be, the man in the garret, even though I don't live in one. I'll always be the one who wasn't born for that. I'll always be merely the one who had qualities. I'll always be the one who waited for a door to open in a wall without doors, and sang the song of the infinite in a chicken coop, and heard the voice of God in a covered well. Believe in me. No, not in anything. Let nature pour over my seething head, its sun, its rain, and the wind that finds my hair. And let the rest come if it will or must, or let it not come. Cardiac slaves of the stars, we conquered the whole world before getting out of bed, but we woke up and it's hazy. We got up and it's alien. We went outside and it's the entire earth. Put the solar system and the Milky Way and the indefinite.
So our minds don't work in patterns, don't work in lines. Make sure you remember that. Don't work in lines, they work in patterns.